Good morning. My my voice didn't work there. Morning. Try that a bit better. Morning. There you go. How are you doing? Good to see you. Let's plunge the coffee and let's get started. Here we are. What day is it? Tuesday. I lose track of the days at the minute. I was telling people I was delivering some training a couple of weeks back, and I was telling people how it was great that we were doing something quite serious, and it was a Friday afternoon, and I was like, how serious this is for a Friday afternoon. And it took me two or three times before somebody said, Stephen, it's only Thursday afternoon, and immediately the horror of the fact it was Thursday afternoon and not Friday afternoon was apparent for me. But then I thought, actually, do you know, this is good because I've got Thursday night back all of a sudden. As I thought, it was in the run up to redoing the study, actually. So I was kind of thinking, oh, all of a sudden I've got Thursday night back to do some study related activities. So that was all good. That was all good. That was excellent. You know, but there you go. So I find myself now uncertain about what day it is and keep checking. Anyway, I hope you're all right. Been away for the weekend, had a lovely little break in a little place called Beadnell, which is near a bigger town called Seahouses in Northumberland, up the Northumberland coast. I like that. I like that. Well, I like it for me. It's maybe not good for the people of Beadnell. I don't know. I think the thing that probably has changed is there are a lot more holiday lets than probably privately owned houses on the beachfront there now, which is a bit of a shame. But anyway, there you go. So Peter Beadle for the weekend, feeling very relaxed. Got back yesterday, just had a chilled out afternoon because I was still on holiday, today technically from the old university work, and so yet my thoughts returned to work. Well, I was doing some reading while I was away, just see what comes up. It's really nice. My Google feed's really nice because I read the same sort of stuff all the time. I just keep getting more and more of the stuff. This is one of the places where the algorithm is really useful. I just keep getting the latest stuff about things. And I came across this article from Psychology Today. And actually, the other thing that's interesting to say is that I came across a video, somebody coming up with their email method. Their email method, this dramatic kind of idea about their email method and how they do it based on David Allen's Getting Things Done methodology, which I love. And I watched maybe the first 8 minutes of it and realized that it's the same as my email method, but actually it's just David Allen's email method with some of the fancy thoughts on productivity kind of thrown in. So it made me think I should turn that hour-long presentation into a presentation that I put on YouTube. So that's in my head to do. Anyway, that was that. So I watched a bit of that this morning, and I also over the weekend read this article by a woman called Lauren Flocco, PhD, she's a doctor, and she is interested in how individuals and organizations thrive. And that got me thinking, well, you know, aren't we all, in a sense, we all want to work for thriving organizations and we all want to thrive in them. And the article I read was about how to reduce burnout and be satisfied with work. And I've been reading some other things about the importance of being satisfied with work. Workplace-wise stuff, I suppose, that importance of being satisfied. Oh, this is interesting. What she come up with, and she calls it her DRAMMA approach, with two M's, DRAMMA approach, and it stands for detachment, relaxation, autonomy, mastery, meaning, and affiliation. Well, I was immediately intrigued because those things are things that interest me. The autonomy, mastery, and meaning, you know, is part of that Desi and Ryan thing about what makes us joyful and get into a state of flow in the workplace. And obviously the other two things, detachment and relaxation, really important, and affiliation. So let's go through those things. And I kind of like the order they were in. I don't know whether I don't think she's picked this order particularly. I think she's picked it because it spells the word drama with two M's. And the first one is detachment. Really important. As you probably know, because I mentioned before, I taught social workers quite a bit about this kind of stuff. And detaching from work, leaving at work the emotional labor of work is really important. And she points out organize work to avoid bringing work-related thoughts home. And one of the things that I think is really important is we often kind of crash out of the day, don't we? We often kind of work and work and work and work right up until the minute we're about to go home or move from the study or spare bedroom or whatever into the other parts of the house if we're working from home. So I think this is important. Organize your work to avoid bringing work-related thoughts home. Arrange tasks to create a clear boundary between work and personal time. And this is this idea that I've got of how do you think of yourself as a computer. How do you power up on a morning, and how do you shut down on a night? If you shut your computer down, I don't. It's on all the time. I think modern computers are okay with that. But anyway, but how do you think about yourself as a computer? How do you shut yourself down ready for the evening? What do you do? I suppose I do that because I shut Teams down. After I've used them for the things I need to use them for, I shut Teams down and shut my emails down after checking them and all that kind of thing. So it's about this switching off. It's about this process. And again, talking a few days back with people about how I introduce myself to the day, and often I haven't done it yet because I want it to be when I start my kind of work day. I know I don't see this as work. I see this as just pleasure and enjoyment. But there's a transition somewhere. I'll maybe light a little incense thing, and I'll put the music on that I like to work to, and I'll do that, and I'll signal to myself now that I'm about to start work. And it's important to signal to yourself at the end of the day that you're about to finish work, and then that you are finished work, because that detachment is so important. And there are lots of things. I've got a little book on Amazon about working from home that goes into some of these things that kind of gets you to think about your kind of shut down strategy. And mine's quite simple, straightforward. It doesn't have to be complicated. Check emails, check Teams, check emails, check Teams, that goes off. Check university emails, Monday to Wednesday, that goes off. Check my kind of personal email freelance account, that goes off. Think about the day through the lens of control, which I've talked about before. Things that have gone wrong, very quickly. Things that have gone wrong, what could I have controlled better? Probably nothing is the answer to that question significant amounts of the time. So if I can't have controlled it any better, then why trouble myself with it? What could I have controlled better? Think about that, learn, and then what's gone really well. And I think this, I'm not saying it's a silver bullet. I'm not saying it's a kind of thing that works all the time, but it works more often than it doesn't, So and this is the thing: how to reduce burnout in the workplace, how to be satisfied at work. Start with how you leave it behind. And then the next thing, relaxation, which I'll come to, is what you don't do at work. But the interesting thing is, most people, I remember reading some literature on this a good while back, before writing the book, is that most people cite the problem in the workplace, but cite the solution outside of the workplace. And that's a bit naive. We've got to do things while we're at work to help with that sense of relaxation through the day. That David Allen thing about generating power and forward momentum being about your ability to relax. We've got to be able to relax into the work. And the way we learn to relax is by learning to relax, is by teaching ourselves how to relax. And the author of this piece, Lauren Flocko, suggests that relaxation, and she says, is important, and it is massively important. Plan work schedules, she says, that allow time for physical and mental relaxation. So what she's saying there, I think, it sounds like it, is your work schedule across the day should have little pockets of relaxation in them. So incorporating stress relief activities, she suggested, your daily routines. Ensure that you can get your downtime away from work tasks. That's at the end of the day and weekends, but also those little breaks that you take across the day are really important, because the more you can keep that sense of relaxation, you'll have peaks and troughs, where you're feeling a bit like kind of you have to be focused on things and maybe getting to you a bit. And the more we can kind of do that, have a trough, And the more we can bring those stress hormones down by some relaxation during the day, the better we keep a kind of level playing field. And then she mentions autonomy, mastery, and meaning, and this is that stuff around flow. The more our job aligns to what we enjoy, the more autonomy. This is a shout out to managers. The more our work tasks allow for some personal decision making within that, so we can control our workflow. We can control when we do things, how we do things, the order we do them in. The better. So the more, and she says this in the article, the more we can shape our work processes and outcomes. And that's not necessarily the job we need to do. That's not necessarily the thing we need to do. That's kind of set for us and the expected outcome. And sometimes some of the process, if not all of the process, sometimes it's kind of right, we have to do it in this order. But how you do those elements, how you do them, is hopefully down to you. The more autonomy people have, the better. And she says you have to be autonomous. So, again, this flow concept, getting into a state of flow. To do that, autonomous working is really good. So we need to try and give people that. Mastery. People need to feel as though they know what they're doing. But this is partly down to our employers, but it's also down to us. And again, Lauren mentions it. What's the continuous learning that is required of us, and actually beyond that, being autonomous in our learning. What do we want to learn about? Do we want to learn some skills that aren't even related to our job? That's what we're after, isn't it? Because the more we seek knowledge, the more we expand our knowledge, the better we are, I'd argue, at everything. So the more knowledge you have about lots of things, the better you are at everything. So mastering that lifelong learning, skill development is really important. And then meaning is the other part of that flow. There has to be, this is why that workplace why is so important. There has to be something in there about personal values. There has to be something in there about what gives you meaning in life, what gives you purpose in life. And I know not everybody is lucky enough to have a job where that's a strong element, but maybe you find meaning outside of that. So I was talking about this with a group of people a few weeks back, and one of them said, it's so I can do all the other things outside of work. That's the meaning that I give to this job. I'm going to do this job well. I'm going to do this job effectively. I'm going to get involved with this. I'm going to do it. I'm going to get it done, and I'm going to be good at it because it gives me a range of options outside of the workplace. That's fine. It doesn't have to be I love my job because I love doing this, that, the other about the job. It can be external. That's fine as well. And then the final thing of her DRAMMA with 2 M's is affiliation, building strong connections. And this is also something I talk about. And this is the thing that I worry about in terms of those working from home, is that we don't get that development of our professional identity based on our connections with other people. We run the risk of becoming quite disconnected from our work peers, and having strong connections with our colleagues drives our well-being at work. It means we bring our authentic self to work so we can just be who we are. And Martin Seligman, as you remember, says that the closer we are to our authentic self, whatever we're doing, the happier we'll be. We don't have to try and be somebody else. So work needs to have a sense of community. There needs to be a sense of support, and this is mentioned in the article. So there you go. That struck me. That struck me as a really good analysis. And her point is that it reduces burnout and makes you more satisfied at work, or encourages you to be more satisfied at work. And I think that's really important. And burnout is present across a range of professions. A range of lives, isn't it really? That's where burnout is at. We become burnt out from life. Do you not think? Because life is so demanding. We need to be able to step back. And as I've said right at the start, I stepped back by going away for the weekend this weekend, but we have to be able to step back regularly, or it all becomes too much for our little human brains to kind of cope with, at the mercy of our biological necessity. So there you go. Interesting article. I've shared a link in the video notes underneath. Have a look at the article. I think I've covered all the key points. It fleshes them out a little bit more. So there you go. Drama. Have a good day.